Your people warm and welcoming, it's always been that way. But now the time has come to pass, and we must take a stand to ensure we hand our descendants a strong and prosperous land. Scotland, Scotland, I will heed the call, and with everything I have, I swear I will give it all. I have traveled near, I have traveled far, but no matter where I roam, there is no place I would rather be than the place I call my home. But now the time has come to pass, and we must take a stand to ensure we hand our descendants a strong and prosperous land. Scotland, Scotland, I will heed the call, and with everything I have, I swear I will give it all. Scotland, Scotland, I will heed the call, and with everything I have, I swear I will give it all. Well, good evening and welcome to I Write. This is the last show in the series, but don't worry, we will be back. This is a light-hearted look at politics in general and Scottish politics in particular. Over the next half hour or so, we'll take a wee look at what's happening currently and anything else that's caught our eye recently. Show's hosted by myself, Graham Dallas, and the one and only our great poet, Mr. Sean Moore. Over to you, Sean.
Hello again, folks. Thanks for joining us again. Thanks, as always, to the Independence Live crew for letting us piggyback onto their platform and spout to the public in general. Cheers for that. Men, leave your comments. It's good crack the past few weeks, listening to all the banter, all the bands. Keep it coming. Okay. That's assuming Graham's got some nice, cheerful clips for us.
I've got something to get your blood boiling. We'll shoot in with the first clip, and I'll let Boris explain this one to you.
Contact tracing. Our test and trace system is as good as or better than any other system anywhere in the world.
You said the app was absolutely essential.
27th of September. It's revealed that the app's software contains an extraordinary failure that prevents tens of thousands of people from inputting their test results. 29th of September. People experiencing symptoms are being told to drive hundreds of miles to get a test. 4th of October. The Johnson government admits that it missed logging up to 16,000 people who had tested positive for COVID-19 following an error inputting data into an Excel spreadsheet. Despite millions of downloads and over 1 million check-ins, it's revealed that the app has sent just one alert about an outbreak in a venue. The app is updated after users report phantom alerts wrongly telling them they may have been exposed to COVID-19. 15th of October. It's revealed that private sector consultants are being paid up to £7,000 a day to work on test and trace. 22nd of October. At this point, the programme is failing to reach over 40% of contacts, meaning over 100,000 potentially infected people a week are not getting reached. The Prime Minister takes the opportunity to remind people that they'll get a £500 government grant for self-isolating. 23rd of October. It emerges people cannot in fact get a £500 grant for self-isolating because the button was accidentally left off the Test and Trace app. 1st of November. It's revealed that the world-beating Test and Trace app, downloaded by 19 million people, has systematically failed to alert the public to isolate after being exposed to the virus. The app was set at the wrong sensitivity level from the start. 2nd of December. The English lockdown ends, but the country is still without an effective test and trace system, despite Johnson spending a staggering £22 billion of public money on his failed programme.
The Public Accounts Committee report today finding no clear evidence that it has reduced infections, and all at a cost of £37 billion for this financial year and the next.
I suppose many of my viewers will think it's not a laughing matter.
Meanwhile, some friends of the Johnson government have, on the back of coronavirus, become very wealthy indeed.
Okay, so there we have it. This is England's £37 billion world-beating, virus-defeating, money-eating test and trace system. 37. That's it. That's the one.
Mind Jim Murphy get crucified for his fundily mundily.
Aye.
There's Boris making him sound like Eminem there, man. But that's just Boris, isn't it? He can say track and trace, test and trace fine. This guy done Latin and Greek and all that at Eton, among other things. He could say that if he wanted to, but it's just, I'm a clown. Laugh at me, but don't notice what I'm doing in the background.
30, he's been doing a lot. You know, that they've been dodging this one, but, 37 billion, we just throw that figure out there. Do you know, and it was the missus that said to me, do you have any idea how much 37 billion is? And I think, so then you start to think about it. And we're going to put a wee question out there to the people watching to see who gets closest. I'm going to give you 3 questions. How many seconds how many years are there in 30 billion seconds? 37 billion seconds make up...
Billion, not million, billion.
Billion. 37 billion seconds. How many years is that? That's the first one.
Just got a wee context on it, just to get a picture in our eyes, what a billion looks like.
So see if you can come close to this. Right, Sean came up with this one, shredding tenors. If you were putting a shredder a tenner in the shredder, and it took 3 seconds to go through the shredder, the tenner to go through the shredder. I'm trying to do a Boris here.
How long would it take me to shred 37 billion pounds like this, doing it constantly?
No. Aye, 37 billion tenors. Right. Now here's another one. You're driving round. You and me jump in a car, Sean. We drive for a mile, stop the car, and the first stranger we see, we give them £1,000. Then we drive another mile, and the second stranger we see, we give them £1,000. And we keep doing that until we get to £37 billion. Now, let me tell you, you will go around the world more than once, but how many times would you go around the world, stopping every mile and giving away £1,000? So that's
£1,000 a mile. I'm going to contact a Paisley taxi driver because he'll know the answer to this one. £1,000 a mile.
Right, well, you do that, but let's see who can get that figure in their head. I mean, we know these guys know how to spend money. I don't know if you actually saw the wee 2.6 million in a new media room in Downing Street. I'm going to show a wee picture of it. That's it up now. I mean, come on, guys, look at those chairs. Do you know what's in that room that cost £2.6 million? Now, you might say, I know as a musician, those spotlights in the ceiling there, those cans are maximum £100 each. So the lighting's no that bad. Those chairs.
I'm no a musician, but I've been to IKEA and I know the chairs cost £15 each.
£15, you've been ripped off, man. But anyway, somebody else has been ripped off. So anyway, so where are we going? So I gave the wife a wee challenge here. I said, right, okay, Karen, you've got £2.6 million to spend doing up a room, because she knows how to spend money, right? She's way out in front here. I said 2.6 million. If you can't get to 2.6 million, then you have to pay for it yourself. So here, spend 2.6 million. It's paid for, or if you spend anything less, it's not. So she couldn't get to 2.6 million. I said, well, how do you think the Tories did it? And she said to me, well, that's dead easy. She says, if I was a Tory doing it, this is how I would do it. My consultancy and design fee would be 2.5 million. And she said, I'd spend £100,000 doing the place up. I went, that's how they do it.
And this consultancy, wouldn't it just be Yellow Pages or randomly Googled, where's the nearest consultant? It would have been that wee consultancy firm that gave a donation to your party last year of $500,000 or something. Yeah, that's totally how it works. Totally. And you know, there's a wee bit of me hoping that it's just good old-fashioned cronyism with them. Because when you think of the alternative, I remember like years ago, the folk were laughing at the CIA because they spent £1,000 on a pen or £1 million quid on a desk or something like that. But it wasn't that they were being careless with the money. It was that they were having to disguise. It was creative accounting. Like, we can't say that we've gave these guerrillas in South America £1 million to buy weapons, so we'll just say that we spent it on office funding. So I'm just hoping it's good clean cronyism and it's no maybe to pay for, I don't know, 77th Brigade bots in Scotland or something like that.
That might be, aye. Right, let's get back to the how much is £37 billion. Did we get any answers in there?
With a few, I mean, folk are saying like, Joy 1,500 times around the world. Jim McIntyre, I think he must have used a calculator because he's been pretty definite. 1,137 years. So 100 zillion years. George, we're trying to get our heads around what a billion is here because nobody can manage a billion. You're confusing us with zillions, man. Is that a thing? A zillion, is it really? But it's a good point, this frame of reference, because we're simple people. None of us has seen a billion of anything.
No.
We can imagine what a million is, because folks say, what would you do if you won £1 million in the lottery? We can picture £1 million. 1 million people, okay, maybe the population of Greater Glasgow, Strathclyde, we can kind of see that. But there's nothing in our skulls that can equate to a billion. We've never seen a billion of this, and it takes a while to get your head around it. Well, it's been a good public service thing they broadcast this week already, because there's Alex Adam just said, thanks for reminding me, it's time to go and put a cotton bud up my sinus. Yes, Trace. I'm assuming it was sinus and it wasn't predictive text or anything else, Alex. I'm sure it was sinus.
Right, so 37 billion seconds would take as 1,100 and odd years. So what does that, when would we have started that? When would we have started ticking the clock to get here?
Well, I would have had to start shredding in the year 850-ish. Like,
no, that's seconds. Aye.
In the days of Kenneth MacAlpine, when Kenneth MacAlpine was writing Scotland, so like 4 centuries before Bannockburn and Stirling Bridge and all that, a whole millennium before the Jacobites practically. It's crazy numbers.
And the other one was, and somebody came up with the right answer actually, 1,500. If you stopped every mile and gave the first person you saw £1,000 all the way around the world, you would have to go around the world 15 times, man. That's how much is. How can you spend that? It doesn't even work, you know. It's like, and nobody in the media is saying. Nobody's questioning it. Jeremy Corbyn wanted to spend a measly $8 billion redeveloping the whole country, and they wanted to know where every penny was coming from, didn't they?
Where's your money tree? Where's your money tree? Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmon cost £500,000 in
Half a
legal
million.
fees, you know.
I know. I mean, that could have gone a 50 the way to doing up a media suite, you know.
Aye, I could have about half a dozen chairs for Boris Johnson. There's somebody else in the comments, I think it was Ruth or someone said it's world-class mediocrity, but putting these kind of scenarios on it, it shows you that it's no mediocrity. No. It's something more sinister, because you can't be that stupid by accident. You can have accidents, you can do stupid stuff, but that level is beyond carelessness. It's international class stupidity.
Well, funny you should say that. Let's just see what the outside our own media, what the media about the world are saying about this. So let's have another wee clip on this one.
17th of December, a New York Times investigation into UK government spending on COVID concludes there is ample evidence of cronyism. The investigation finds that half the taxpayers' money they analysed went to companies either run by friends and associates of politicians in the Conservative Party or with no prior experience or a history of controversy. Meanwhile, smaller firms without political clout got nowhere.
Serco, a company with a controversial history. This is a case of pure corruption. Edward Argar, who is a junior health minister, is also a former Serco lobbyist. But what is also interesting is that the chief executive of Serco is none other than Rupert Soames, the grandson of Sir Winston Churchill. The current CEO was a member of the same club that Boris Johnson was a member of, the Burlington Club, and Mr. Soames' own brother was a senior member of government.
Aye, Sean, so that was Serco getting the contract for the £37 billion system. Now, let's put this into context with what other systems are out there. Because England's track and trace system averages out at £600 a head. If we look at the Scotland's track and trace system, it cost 89 million. It works out at £16 a head, and that's working, by the way. But if we scaled that up to the size of England, because we're only 8%, obviously, it would still be less than 1 billion.
Only 8% of the population, but we're subsidy junkies, so it costs us a lot more.
Well, and we're paying 8% of that 37 billion as well. Line me up, man, you know. But anyway, so we're £16 ahead, and if we scaled that up, they would have, if they'd used their system, they would have saved 36 billion. And they could have taken the Nicola Sturgeon, Alex Salmon 650,000 off that, and they would still have another 35.5 billion, or no, 35.95 billion still in the bank, you know. I mean, mental.
Or as somebody else said, gave the whole population, gave everybody in Britain £400,000 to sit in a house and self-isolate. That would have worked, wouldn't it? That would have.
Is that what it works at? Does it work at that, man? It's ironic.
But again, it was interesting that you got a clip there for the New York Times, Graham. What's some power a gift to give us to see ourselves as others see us?
Aye.
So many occasions where you've had to get the objective news angle from another country.
Aye.
It's almost like the English British papers are commenting on it.
Aye, well, not. Oh no, no, they've probably just missed it. They've probably been having a wee meeting or something when the news flashes come in, you know.
The Duke of Edinburgh's hasn't been well, and that nasty wee Meghan Markle's been causing all sorts of trouble.
Aye, so there's a lot going on. We can't get looking into that too much. Aye, and I was looking at the German system. The German system's going to cost 100 million. So they could have bought that 30 times over, and that one works as well. You know, but they had to go for their own world-beating, virus-defeating, money-eating test and trace system, you know. God bless
So
them.
next time somebody says to you, aye, well, if the war had went a different way, we'd all be talking German now. Aye. Vorsprung durch Technik. Great, bring it on.
But the thing is, I didn't realise, you know, they got this unopposed, and you pointed out to me actually earlier on that their only competition's out the game at the moment, G4, and I didn't realise why, but maybe you
Aye, I was like, I mean, basically, if you're going to give a gig like this, it's either going to be Circle or G4S, and they're the ones that do all the kind of what used to be the preserve of the police and the courts and the civil service and all that. And I thought that's good. G4S aren't getting a gig anymore. Because that's Theresa May's husband is the main stakeholder with G4S. It's like,
I
do we
mean,
get to Theresa's husband or do we get to Nicky Solmes's brother? Who's in favour this month?
man,
you know,
you
poor
can't.
Theresa, she done her job. She took the flak for the whole Brexit thing.
Aye.
Storming the media with that. Made a clown of herself dancing over in Africa or whatever like a robot. Put herself in the firing line, done a job, took the flak, paved the way for these asset strippers to just go mental after Brexit. And that's it, she's bombed it.
Her husband's not getting a wee turn because Nicky Solms
Got a
is
pal
in
that
there.
owns a chocolate factory in Devon.
But aye, so anyway, that's it. But aye, so why did they do it? Why? I mean, why? Everybody else went to their own public health people to build their to develop their track and trace, because obviously they had the experts in there. So we had to kind of figure out how come they went to the private sector. We kind of know, but this is another wee short clip I'm going to play that kind of explains that.
A leaked email from the chief executive of Serco reveals how he doubted the scheme would evolve smoothly, but said he wanted it to cement the position of the private sector in the NHS supply chain.
Now, what do these people need to do before people realise that they're just stripping assets? What do they need to do? Do you know we keep seeing them selling off the NHS? They sold off all the cleaning. They get rid of all the matrons. They've just slowly been taking chunks out of it, and then they interview them on the telly and they give it. No, the NHS is safe in our hands, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's all right then. I'll vote for them the next time because the NHS is safe in their hands." And even they're telling you.
Aye. And again, going back to Thatcher, at least old Thatcher, she kind of dressed it up and she would go, right, if we privatise everything, nasty unions will not be able to go and strike. Oh, right. And you'll all get a nice wee share when you buy your shares. After said you'll get a wee dividend and everybody can be a stakeholder. I was like, that sounds good, Maggie. And the unions will not bring the services to a standstill and everything will be more efficient. We like efficiency. These guys nowadays are saying, it'll no work, we'll arse it up, but geese it anyway, because that's what we should be doing for a free market.
I know it's crazy. Let's get let's get rid of the unions. And now they're sitting there, their grandwains are going to them, Granny, how come I've got a 0-hour contract? Do you remember when overtime used to pay you twice as much as you got normally? Now you're just expected. In fact, now a lot of people don't even get paid for doing overtime. They're just expected to keep up with their work, Crazy.
And again, going back to Thatcherism, she would like advocate the free market, and that's fine. It was an unfettered free market, and then it would boom and bust, and it was just a free for all. But she stuck to her warped evil principles. She stuck to them. But these guys, they're quite happy having state-owned thing when it suits them. Like, well, a free market until the RBS goes tits up. And then the RBS can be state-owned and we'll bail it out and we'll plough money into it and we'll get it as a going concern again. And then when it's successful, same with the East Coast Railway Line, National Express realised that, okay, we can do buses, but they're not so good with trains. And they messed that up, so took it back into public ownership. And the Tory government at the time, they even dressed the delivery of the trains in nice plain silver so that whatever spiv came in to buy the rolling stock would have no problem just painting their own letters on them. And then when it became a going concern, again, they punted it off to Richard Branson. He's into everything else. So it's like, fine, if you think state ownership is evil and you want to be a non-interventionist government, do that, but it's this cherry picking. We'll let the state look after it till it makes money, and then we'll take it.
And then when it goes bust, we'll let them pay for it, like the banks. We'll let them pay for it, then we'll sell it off again to your mates. We'll not let them buy shares in it. Aye, right, okay, so I think we've spent enough time going on the old, I think we've been round the world about 1,340 times anyway with that one. But aye, it isn't mouth-watering. But let's move on anyway, and we've got another wee clip to show you on our last subject.
This is the news that Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was found guilty in the High Court of misleading and lying to Parliament. I'll now hand you over to the BBC to see how they reported it.
We're going to be joined now by Douglas Ross, the leader of the Scottish Conservatives.
What's very clear from the evidence that has been released today is that Nicola Sturgeon has misled Parliament. She's lied to the people of Scotland.
This is the news that the BBC allowed Douglas Ross, the leader of the Conservatives in Scotland, to lie on national television. The documents that Douglas was referring to did not make it clear that Nicola Sturgeon misled Parliament. Did not make it clear that Nicola Sturgeon lied to the Scottish people.
Because I've here the official newsletter of the Wellingborough Conservative Party, because it gives a lot of advice to wannabe politicians. It says this: say the first thing that comes into your head. It'll probably be nonsense. You may get a bad headline, but if you make enough dubious claims fast enough, you can get away with it. It includes the December edition. The advice: sometimes it's better to give the wrong answer at the right time rather than the right answer at the wrong time. So my final question to the Prime Minister is this: is he the inspiration for the newsletter?
Okay, so there you have it. That was the death of mainstream media. Before we start,
Yeah,
Sean.
you kept that quiet, did you?
Aye.
Hey, well, folks, that's the real reason we're going to be off air for the next few weeks. Graham's been headhunted by the BBC.
Did you? Before we start, though, what do you think?
What I'm going? That Laura Kunsberg's let herself go a bit. I pat my glasses, Graham.
Aye. What do you think of my media studio, eh? My £2.6 million media studio.
I was actually thinking that about the Tory media room. Rather than the 2.6 million, they should just, like, everything's happening in Zoom nowadays anyway, they should just do it with a green screen and let the viewers decide what the background's going to be like. Yeah. So when I watch Boris Johnson, I can decide that I'm going to have the Velociraptors for Jurassic Park or something like that, or running about after him, or a zombie apocalypse behind him or something like that.
Chasing Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock can stand like that in front of the green screen.
Dinosaurs permanently fluttering £50 notes, or £10 notes for 1,000 years. No man, the BBC News, like we were saying earlier on, you've got to go further afield to get the news. This state-owned broadcaster being very, very selective about what they transmit and what they don't transmit. Tim Davie stood, the Director General of BBC 20 odd years ago, stood as a candidate for the Tory party. He was the Tory branch secretary somewhere in London. Nick Robinson, obviously, he got hauled over the coals during the referendum We all remember him well. He was the president of the Oxford University Students' Union. Laura Kuenssberg's got all the previous. Sarah Smith. We can't have a Tory preaching in Scotland, but we'll get a Labourite. It's the same, twin cheeks, you know. So that's what the impartial, serious news team is packed with for the top down. What chance have we got, man?
I mean, I know it's been a busy news period, right? I understand what you're saying, Sean. Prince Philip was in hospital.
Prince Philip's okay, I know he's really...
You know, and Meghan Markle was kicking off. So I know, but I mean, for them to miss the Office of National Statistics saying that Scottish exports is doing 83%, do you know, I can understand. I know there is a lot going on, but surely they could have just done a wee bit at the end. Tell us about it.
Because it's a big percent. Again, we've been talking about numbers a lot tonight, but if somebody was to say exports are down 2% or up 2% year on year, you're looking 2%.
2%.
That's a lot. 83 is a lot, man. That's newsworthy.
I'd have thought so. No. You'll probably get it in the New York Times right enough, you know. But and then the thing that really surprised me this week was though when I saw that the Coalition for Reform in Political Advertising found that 88% of Tory Facebook ads either contained lies or misleading information. I was staggered by that. I cannot believe that 12% of their ads actually tell the truth. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not buying that. You know.
Judging by the performances we were talking about earlier on, probably that 12% is by accident. It's been a misprint. It's been Boris mispronouncing something. It's actually made it factual.
And then we go into the bit where they're telling our activists just to make up lies. You know, they're not even hiding it now, are they? I mean, we always know they did it, but they're just actually putting it in newsletters and say, look, when you go to the door, tell them whatever they want to hear, just get them to vote for you. It's all right. We'll sort it out later.
Yeah, I mean, Stanler was having a laugh, but it is true and it gets done. And when you're doing it to enough people, yeah, a few of them will notice the apology or the retraction when it's in page 17 of the newspaper underneath the horoscope, or when it's to your 100 Twitter followers. But if you've made this lie on the front page of the paper or in front of 6 million people at primetime telly, that sticks, man. Job done, damage done.
I know. Well, that's exactly what they say, in it. That's exactly what they say there. Just put it out there. But was it no Hitler that said that? If you tell a lie often enough, you know, people will believe it.
Goebbels was a master of it, wasn't he, man?
Goebbels was a master of it. No saying it. I'm not comparing Boris Johnson, obviously, to Adolf Hitler.
We've got a really international feel to the thing tonight as well. I mean, we're talking about the Russian room guys, the Russian decorators, doing it number 10, and our clips for the New York Times and all that. As soon as we opened tonight, Rab Buchan gave us a greeting in Gaelic. So we need to get some subtitles, and Melanie McKim was talking about subtitles and all. And then Luke Jones, he came steaming in. He's doing a professional Welshman bit now. Heidi High campers, you know. He's going into his Gladys Pugh mode. So I'm thinking maybe next time when we come back, we could have a wee subtitle generator for all these.
Maybe we could have Luke standing up in the background doing it in Welsh. And we could
translating for Welsh.
And we'll have somebody else
all about
translating
inclusion,
for Gaelic. With somebody else doing it for Gaelic. Luke's really jumping about the new into because Welsh are doing all right at the rugby, but he's having a wee field day there. He's died and gone to heaven, that boy. But anyway,
bread of heaven.
But so I think we've ran it long enough tonight, Sean. So anyway, what I've got to say is this is so basically where we're finishing tonight, and I think
that's where we started, Graham, 6 weeks ago, saying Boris is an arse, the Tories are all liars, and the BBC can't be trusted.
We've wasted 6 weeks telling everybody what they already knew, I suppose, haven't we?
I've learned some maths in between times.
How to get around the world. How much it costs you to go around the world, gain thousands of pounds away.
Hopefully next time we come on, there'll be. I mean, yeah, there'll be some sea changes, some material changes. You know, there'll be. We'll maybe be getting the results of the election coming in.
Aye.
And hopefully that'll map the way forward. We know what we're looking at for the next year or two.
Well, we're going to look into doing another wee series of this, but before we do, we definitely will come back on election night and do a wee election special, because there's bound to be a few belters during the election campaign. I think I can't see Douglas Ross and the Tories letting us down in the run up to the Scottish elections. So we'll definitely need to come back and do a wee show for that. But yeah, I'm going to leave you a wee parody that we did a couple of weeks ago. Sean wrote it. It was about the Tories spending money and on their, what did I say? It was our world-beating, virus-defeating, money-eating, eye-water and not working test and trace programme. So it's all right for me, and I hope you've enjoyed the series, and I'll just hand you over to Sean for our last words before we head off.
A few last words. Right, thanks everybody for coming in, for joining us every week. It's been good crack. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't reply to comments. I'm on another Facebook ban this week. But come back, talk to us again sometime. But mainly thanks to Graham for doing all this techie stuff. And as he did with this video that he's going to show, I just go like that. And Graham does all the techie stuff, the knob twiddling and recording and all that. So, well played, my man. Thanks for
much.
See you in a few weeks, eh?
We'll see everybody in a few weeks. Right, guys, take care. Bye.
Yeah.
What a time it's been with these corona blues. Sometimes scared to switch on TV or radio news. Sick of a leader who doesn't have a clue. Then had a story that seemed to make me smile, or persevere on some 300 billion miles. Plutonium power pushed to space race, cosmic prize. There's a Martian waiting up in space. He'd like one day to meet us and show NASA won the race. It cost $2 billion to land on this place, but still that's 10 times cheaper than a Tories track and trace. He told me you let the Tories do it, and the Tories blew it. Tell me, are you? Yes, yes. You have to pay someone, so why not get your friends in? Expert space cadets like that Dido Harding. 22 billion, cash enough for 10 Mars landings. It's out this world, but even more up the shop. Astronomical cost, and it never even works. Give her a rocket, or lock her up with Matt Hancock. There's a Martian waiting up in space. He'd like one day to meet us and show us who won the race. Cost $2 billion to land on this place, and still that's 10 times cheaper than a Tories track and trace. He told me you let the Tories do it, and the Tories blew it. Tell me, are you? Yes, yet. Martian waiting up in space. He'd like one day to meet us and show NASA won the race. It cost $2 billion to land on this place, and still that's 10 times cheaper